What's good, YouTube? It's Rico here, and I've got a deck profile for Thunder Dragons. So quick backstory on why I built Thunder Dragons, how I built Thunder Dragons so quickly. So this came up about shortly after the 200th YCS in Columbus. I was getting kind of tired of Sky Striker. I love the deck. I think the deck's really cool. I think the deck's really good. But my issues with Sky Striker were one, it's kind of bricky with only one Hornet drones, which, like, I guess it's something you can't really avoid with any deck in this format. But it's really bricky with Hornet drones. I feel like it's the easiest deck to floodgate between like Imperial Order, Rivalry, Goes In, Secret Village, and just like anything of that sort. And I didn't like just losing games to like just random shit like that. I didn't like the mirror because as skill based as the mirror is, it is a very slow, very long mirror. It is a very unforgiving mirror. And going back to it's a very slow and long mirror. It, like, you probably are not going to play a full 3 games, which I don't like. I don't like being practically guaranteeing myself to go to time. And even though the mirror is for the most part very skilled, there are also a couple really big blowout cards, mostly multi-roll and shared ride, and I ended up really hating that mirror. And because Sky Striker is the most popular deck right now, it's like you're practically guaranteed to play Sky Striker. I got really lucky by playing no mirrors at Columbus. But overall, like, I was just like kind of tired of playing Sky Striker, and I was on the Yugi organization, and like I was just looking at OCG deck list, and I saw Dinosaur Thunder Dragon, and I was like, oh, that sounds really cool, let me look into it. And I looked into the Thunder Dragon cards. I played around with Dino a little bit, and it wasn't doing what I wanted it to do, just because like the different card like ban lists and cards that OCG has compared to TCG, I felt like it made the Dino build worse. So I tried Pure, and holy shit, I love this deck. It's so cool. Like, it's a little annoying that the boss monster of the deck is a Floodgate. Like, that's like not my favorite thing, but like past that, this deck has so many cool plays and combos to it, and like everything works off of banishing, off of going to the graveyard. It's like this feels like the closest thing I've gotten to Dragon Ruler since Dragon Ruler. Like, it's not the exact same, it doesn't play the exact same, but it has that similar vibe of just like you have like all this utility from everywhere. You can make these plays from everywhere, and you can just make big pushes if you need to, and it's great. I love this deck. I had so much fun. They announced that everything was going to be ultra rare or secret rare, or everything that was worth it, and I was like, that's going to be really expensive, but god damn it, I want to play this deck. I'm going to play this deck. So I went into the sneak preview with $500, and I just hunted down every single Thunder Dragon card, and somehow I pulled it off. I got every card I needed for the deck, and I played it at during the sneak tournament. I went 3-1. My only loss was to my friend who was playing Pure Sky Striker. I bricked game 3, and it was unfortunate. I think game 1 I got blown out by multi-roll. But yeah. Let's get into it. But yeah, I really like this deck. Any events moving forward, I would like to play this. The biggest concern is that the Ultrageist matchup is pretty bad. Like every other matchup I think is doable. Sky Striker is like depends on how well they open. Goki is a coin toss, as it always is. This deck shits on True Draco, it shits on Trickstar, but it gets shat on by Ultrageist. So that's like the only real concern with me playing this deck. But it's so fun that I almost just want to play it anyway. But yeah, so let's get into the deck. This is gonna be weird to finagle with my setup. So for monsters, you got 3 Thunder Dragon. Like the basic Thunder Dragon is still like really good in this deck. There's a lot of cool things you can do where you like dump Thunder Dragons, shuffle them back, and then like continue to like loop the Thunder Dragons, and that's really cool. So like he's definitely got a lot of nice utility. He's the only Thunder Dragon that you can discard in practically any circumstance, because like that's the important thing. You can't make Colossus unless you've discarded a Thunder monster this turn to activate its effect. So Thunder Dragon being able to be dumped at any time is really, really nice. Thunder Dragon Dark, also 3 of. This card is really cool because it searches your deck when it's banished or sent from field or graveyard. Its discard effect is like not that great, The advantage is that it's a quick effect, so if you have Titan on the board, it's a free pop. And if you're going second, you can just like in your opponent's end phase ditch it to replace itself, and it thins your deck, so you might as well. But generally you try to use its banish or send a graveyard effect. But it's really good. You generally summon it off of a Dragon Roar and then make Link plays and Fusion plays. 3 Dragon Hawk, he's the one that like just brings all your banished stuff back and just like, facilitates like spamming the board with things because you banish things and you bring them back. His shuffle effect when he's banished or sent to graveyard is not really super good, but it comes up when you just have like a really clunky hand and you just really want to shuffle. Yeah. And then 3 Dragon Roar. He's actually probably the worst one to draw because he's the worst one to open. Like drawing him is not too bad because you can get him to recycle a Hawk later in the game, but opening him is like really sucks. But I feel like 3 of them is really important just for that like late game stuff. And yeah. But his summon from deck effect is incredibly good. That's how a lot of the plays just get facilitated. And then 3 Origin, or Matrix, I'm still calling this Origin. 3 Dragon Matrix, or they could have called it Thunder Dragon Ball, but you know, can't have nice things. This card is a lot better than I thought it would be. Just the fact that it's the only one that is like a free normal summon because it's level 1 actually comes up a lot because this deck really doesn't normal summon that often. The fact that it just replaces itself is really nice, and the attack boost is good. It's one of the 2 Thunder Dragons that can be ditched on your opponent's turn, which means it's really good with Titan. And also it's the easiest one to dump after Dark and Thunder Dragon, so that is also really useful in being able to just like summon Colossus. Definitely was a lot better than I thought it would be. Yeah, and then that's all the 3 of Thunder Dragons. The only other Thunder Dragon is the 1 Thunder Dragon Duo. You play it as a 1-of because you can search it with Dark or Thunder Dragon Fusion. I underestimated this card. This card is actually really good, just because like the fact that dropping it just banishes Thunder Dragons from your graveyard is insane. Its effect where it destroys a monster by battle and then searches for another Thunder Dragon is also really insane, and like your opponent has to, like, if this is a threat your opponent has to deal with if they don't want you gaining more advantage. So yeah, it was definitely like, it's one of the things where your opponent has to respond to it, but you only play 1 because you can search it out, but like hard drawing it is not terrible. Opening it's pretty bad, but what can you do? Yeah, it's all the Thunder Dragon monsters. For other monsters, 3 Battery Man Solar. This card is crazy. Like, this is the normal summon that I want to see, because if you get this and like a Hawk or like a Gold Sarcophagus or even like Instant Fusion, that's an absurd play, because you can, like, you get a token, you get something dumped in the graveyard, and then you just go off and you can probably end on like triple Colossus. Yeah, no, this card's really good. Definitely like the normal summon you want to see in the deck. This was something I was not sure on, but when I played it today, it was really good. Like, it definitely overperformed, and that is 3 Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning. This is similar to Thunder Dragon Duo in that it's just the fact that you benefit from summoning him because you banish Thunder Dragons from your graveyard. And BLS, like, is BLS. Like, even though he's at 3, and even though he's not, like, super broken anymore, he is still a massive threat if he hits the board. Your opponent has to answer him, otherwise they're gonna eat a ton of damage. He answers things by, like, not destroying them, which in the mirror is really nice, because you can get rid of your opponent's Thunder Dragons. And it's just like, if I dropped this card, I knew I was making a really aggressive push, or I was forcing my opponent to answer it to not making an aggressive push. Like, if I drop that against Sky Striker, they have to negate it with Widow Anchor, because I'm going to hit their Sky Striker, and then I'm going to hit the Ray. So, BLS was definitely overperformed. Opening him sucks, but like usually if you open 1, it's not too bad. The brick hand I had against my friend who was playing Sky Striker, I opened 2 of them, which sucked, but that doesn't really happen often enough where I think it's a problem. Also, side note, Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning is my favorite monster in the entire game, and I will be damned if I'm playing a light and dark deck where you benefit off of banishing your monsters and I'm not playing him at 3, so there was that too. But yeah, no, he was really good. I really like this card. I'm surprised he was even playing him. but their meta is like wildly different from ours, just like because they're different card pool. Like even just them having 3 max C, I feel like vastly changes the card pool, and I feel like, or changes the meta, and I feel like that's part of the reason that Altergeist is way more popular over there than it is over here. Yeah. And the last ones are hand traps. So I do I guess an interesting ratio where I play 3 Ash, 2 Bells, and 1 Ghost Ogre. So 3 Ash is obvious, it's like the most generically useful one. 2 Bells is just because I do think like Altergeist is a problem for this deck, but like I said, Altergeist isn't as popular over here as it is over in the OCG. So even though this deck gets hurt really hard by Altergeist, the fact that it has a decent to really good matchup against every other deck in the format makes me think that it might still be able to be like just very relevant, even though it's falling off in the OCG. And Ghost Bell is one of the best hand traps against this deck because it negates Hawk and negates Thunder Dragon Fusion, and there's just so much it can stop. And like Bell is like generically useful against most of the other decks in the meta because you can hit Kagari or Shark Cannon against Sky Striker. You can hit Called by the Grave against like anything that's playing Called by the Grave. You can hit Goki Rematch or Soul Charge or Firewall Dragon against Goki. Excuse me. You can hit Disciples against True Draco, but like True Draco is like horrendously bad against this deck. And then like it doesn't really do a lot against Trickstar or Altergeist, but like Trickstar is also a free matchup, but Altergeist just sucks anyway. Like you're probably gonna lose that game 1 unless they brick. So like I felt like the 2 Bell was necessary just because like this mirror, I feel like it's whoever establishes multiple Colossus is gonna win, so you want to stop them from doing that. So I felt like 2 Bell in the main was important because it's like it's generically useful enough against the entire field, but it's like really important against the mirror. Ghost Ogre I actually think is one of the one of the least useful hand traps right now. Its biggest utility is that against Sky Striker it hits multi-roll, and like you really want to get rid of multi-roll. But I think like outside of that, it's kind of just like a fringe thing. Against Goki, it's only good if they don't have magical mid-breaker field. Altergeist, like you can hit the spoofing and protocol and stuff, but that's only after they've already been flipped up. And like I said, that matchup's really bad anyway. So them losing the spoofing probably isn't going to matter. It sucks against Trickstar. True Draco, it hits Diagram, but again, this matchup is like really, really in favor of Thunder Dragon. Like I don't even know if True Draco has an answer to Colossus game 1. So, because like I don't think they're playing Skill Drain or Monarch Stormforth right now. So, yeah, it's like I felt like Ghost Ogre was like the least important one, but it's still important because like against like random rogue shit, like it can be generically useful. It's pretty bad in the mirror, but if you hit the one thing you can hit is Batteryman Solar, and against Goki, if they don't have mid-breaker field, then it's great. So because like you just hit Summon Sorceress or you hit Firewall, and it's fantastic. So I only decided in main 1, and then I sided the others. But yeah, this ratio was fine. And then so yeah, that's all the monsters. For spells, 3 gold Sarks on my gold Sark mat. It's too perfect, but this is the actual boss card of the deck. Any hand with Gold Sarcophagus is probably amazing. Just because Gold Sark banishing Dragon Roar, if that play goes through, you are making a play. Unless like your hand is like Gold Sark and like 4 hand traps, you're probably going off. So I don't know, that card was fantastic. I loved it. It's a real shame that the OCG has this at 1, because that's probably the biggest reason that pure Thunder Dragon's fallen off in the OCG is that they only have 1 Gold Sarcophagus. I will say one thing though, I'm not playing Allure of Darkness. I did test with it for a while, but I found that the only hands where I like Allure of Darkness are the ones where I open Dark or Roar, and I don't have a way to like get it out of my hand otherwise. And those are the only hands where those are good. And it's like if I have no other play, but if I have a play other than banishing that out of my hand with Allure, then Allure was usually like really awkward or just like not good, because I would rather banish stuff from my deck with Gold Sark or dump it and revive it than I would like actually banish it from my hand with Gold Sark. So Allure was like one of those things where like if your hand was good, it was bad, and if your hand was bad, it was potentially good. So I definitely felt like it wasn't something I wanted to play, so I decided to cut it, and I didn't really miss it at all today. I didn't feel like I bricked too much, even like without that allure for the extra draw power, because a lot of times you just don't draw darks. I do think after we get like the Lone Wolf or the Proud Beast and Savage Strike, which is that dark that banishes a monster from your hand to banish a monster of the same type from your deck, that card is absurd and it's dark, so when that comes out I might consider Allure of Darkness again. But I think right now I would prefer like not playing it. Like even like banishing dark from your hand isn't that good, so like the only actual allure target I want to banish is a Dragon Roar. And like there's only 3 Dragon Roar, and like you can get it off of Gold Sark to summon dark, but if you have Gold Sark, just banish the dark, or banish the Roar directly from the deck. So yeah, I didn't really miss Allure of Darkness, but after Savage Strike it might be something I put back in. Another thing about Allure of Darkness is that any situation where Allure of Darkness is good, Instant Fusion is also good, and Instant Fusion is good in other situations. Like this card's insane. Like I was only playing 2, and then I decided to play 3 just because like I wanted to like try 3 out, and holy shit, this card was great. Just summoning Kaminari Attack to go into Titan and this just gets a Roar out of your hand and you just go off is crazy. Against Pure Sky Striker, I just summoned Thousand Eyes or Strike, and it's another one of those cards that they have to negate it, otherwise they're just gonna like lose it. So it's something that like it forces or like baits out a response. So I definitely really like 3 of this. There was like, I don't think there was any time where I felt like I saw this too often. It was definitely something I wanted to open with. Instant Fusion was insane. So yeah, I definitely really like 3 of this. I could see myself cutting down to 2 if I wanted to cut to 40 cards. I'm playing 42 right now. If I wanted to cut to 40, the 3rd Instant Fusion would be one of the ones I cut, and it's often a card I side out, but I definitely did not mind having 3. I thought this card was great. 2 Thunder Dragon Fusion. This was something I wanted to test because I was mostly testing with 1. But I realized that like Thunder Dragon Fusion, while it's not the most amazing thing to open, it is a play extender if you open like correctly. And so it's not something I minded seeing in my opening hand. If I saw it in my opening hand and it wasn't good, that opening hand probably wasn't good regardless of the Thunder Dragon Fusion. So I felt like it wasn't a problem if I opened it and it was dead. It is a play extender. It is a card that gets you back into the game, and it is a card that floats on the turn after you use it. And it's also like, if you can't use it, you can just set it, and if your opponent blows it up with like Twin Twisters or something, you just search next turn. I did that where like it was sitting dead in my hand, so I sit it against my friend who was playing Sky Striker. He popped it with Afterburner. I was like, thanks. So yeah, I didn't mind 2 of this. Again, the second one's probably a card I would side out regularly. But I don't think 2 was a bad option, especially at least not in Pure. If you're playing like Dino or something else, maybe not play 2 of it, but I think Pure can get away with 2 of it. But again, this is one of the 2 cards I would cut to drop down into 40 if I wanted to. It would be like the 3rd Instant Fusion and the 2nd one of this, but I thought 2 was fine, so I rocked with it. 2 Called by the Grave, it's Called by the Grave. This is a combo deck, you want your combos to go through. And the Scholar is just like a generically versatile card right now, so. And the last card was Monster Reborn. So the really weird thing with this deck is that like Soul Charge isn't that good in this deck, because like if you don't open it, it sucks. And like you're not making an unbreakable board with Soul Charge usually, and like usually you're ending on like triple Colossus, which you can do without Soul Charge. Monster Reborn's insane though. Like this card, just like this extends your plays, this can get your plays going. Like I guess like Soul Charge isn't horrible, but it's just like Soul Charge in this deck is just like a glorified Monster Reborn, which is like not a good way to use Soul Charge. But Monster Reborn is like crazy. I really like this card whenever I saw it, and sometimes it just gets you there. Like Monster Reborn and Thunder Dragon is not good, but at least it ends on Colossus, and there's like some other cool things you can do with Monster Reborn. So I definitely really liked it. And then the last 3 cards in the deck are just 3 Impermanents. I think Impermanence is weird because I feel like it's pretty average against most of the field. Like, it's average against Sky Striker, it's average against Altergeist, it's average against Goki. Well, it's good against Goki unless they get mid-breaker field, then it's useless. It's pretty shit against Trickstar, it's pretty shit against Draco. But it's really important because in the mirror, you need to hold this for if they get to Colossus, then you need to turn that Colossus off, and you have to hope they don't get to 3 Colossus. But yeah, like, Impermanence is odd because like it's just like such an average card, but I feel like just the existence of Thunder Dragon is kind of gonna dictate that you need to play it. So, but yeah. And that's the main deck. Like I said, it's 42 cards. Extra deck. 3 Colossus. This card is insane. It's a one-sided Thunder King Ryo that protects itself from destruction. A lot of your strongest ending boards end on either 2 or 3 of these, and it's crazy. I opted to play 3 Thunder Dragon Titan. So this was something where like you usually don't make more than 2, but Thunder Dragon Titan is just like, first off, you don't really use a lot of the other cards in your extra deck. You usually just go into Colossus and Titan and like some summoner. But the third Titan was one of those things where like the game went on for a long time, and I drew Thunder Dragon Fusion, and I wanted to loop the Thunder Dragon Fusion back and like fusion summon again, but I was like, I had already used all the Colossus, I had already used all of the Titans, and I was like, well, if I had a third Thunder Dragon Titan, I could keep going. So I decided to put in the third Thunder Dragon Titan for that. It really doesn't come up too often, but I feel like it would come up more often than any other card I would put in. The only other thing I would maybe consider is Summon Sorceress, but that card's come up exactly once. So, and even then, like, I had a better board to end on anyway. So yeah. But yeah, I don't, like, you can probably do 2 Titans, but I thought 3 was not bad. 1 Kaminari attack. This card is fantastic because instant fusion, it's a free Thunder. I haven't found myself needing more than 1. I have considered playing 2 because I play 3 instant fusion, but I think 1 was fine. I have 2 instant fusion targets and they're both really good, so I don't think I needed the second Kaminari attack. But like him and a Thunder just makes Titan. That's how you go off sometimes. 1000 Eyes Restrict. This card was insane. I did not expect this to be as good as I thought it would be, but like I said, if you summon this against Striker and like you target their Shizuku, they have to stop that. Like they have to stop you from taking their Striker, otherwise you're gonna cut off their access to Ray. And then like you can just link it off afterwards. I don't know, this card was crazy. There were some games where like if I went second against Striker and they ended on Shizuku and I had instant fusion in my hand, I made this before I made Kaminari attack. This card was nuts. So yeah, definitely really like Thousand Eyes Restrict. 2 Summer Summoners. This is the generic Thunder monster that just came out, the Link 2. His effect is kind of neat, but you never use it. It's if on your opponent's turn you can discard a card from your hand to revive a Thunder monster to its zone it points to. That's not usually something that happens because this card doesn't stay on the board when you summon it. What you do is you link into it, and then you have 2 Thunder monsters that it's pointing to. You turn both of those into Colossus, and you turn the Summer Summoner into Colossus, and then you end on 3 Colossus, and it's amazing. I've never actually had him stay on the field on my opponent's turn, but the fact that he's a generic Link 2 for Thunders, like he just takes 2 Thunder monsters, and then he just turns into Colossus is what makes him really good. I think the second one has only come up like 1 or 2 times, but again, there's really not many other cards in the extra deck I would play in its place. And they've come up less frequently than the second summoner probably would. Like there was like 1 time where I wanted Landphalankus, and there was 1 time where I wanted Summon Sorceress, but I think those are like both going to be less often than the second Summoner. Summer Summoner, whatever the hell this card is. Summer Summoner, whatever. Wee Witch's Apprentice. This is just because there's a lot of dark monsters in your deck, and just the 500 attack boost for Colossus just helps you push for game sometimes. And if they kill it, you can just put a Thunder Dragon or like any dark monster back in your hand. This comes up a couple times, so I was really glad I played that. Link Kuriboh. Between Thousand Eyes Restrict and Dragon Matrix, this actually comes up fairly often, especially with Thousand Eyes Restrict. Like there are sometimes plays where like I'll just make this, I'll make a Colossus under it, and then I'll tribute it to summon another Thunder Dragon, and I'll make another Colossus. And then like also there was like 1 time where I had like a Colossus, a Titan, and Link Kuriboh, and like we couldn't beat that board because you couldn't run over anything. So yeah, Link Kuriboh is like, it's a fringe thing, but I also think it's necessary. But like, it comes up more often than I think it would. Yeah. And then the last 3 cards are like cards I like barely ever go into, but it's just like Boral Sword if I just have the opportunity where I flooded the board, but it's usually not often. If there's any Link 4 I'm playing in this deck though, it's gonna be Boral Sword. Nightmare Unicorn, this has actually come up a fair number of times, so I'm glad I'm playing it. And then Phoenix, this hasn't come up yet, but it's Phoenix. So, like, if there's anything I would change, like, I could replace this with Lanfarincus, but I don't know. I really like Phoenix. It just, as a card, it's just something I feel like you should play it. Yeah. And that's the extra deck. So I'll go into my side deck that I played today. There's some things I do want to change with this, though. Some things did not work as well as I thought they would. So I sided the second and third Ogre. This is, I think, is a good idea, just because like there are random matchups where Ogre is good. I might cut one of these and only play 2 Ogres, one in the main, one in the side. And the only reason for that is because I want to play Imperial Order in the side. I did not, and I really think I should. So just because of that, I feel like I might cut one of these Ogres just to fit that in. And like I said, I feel like Ogre is the weakest of like the 4 generic, like there's 5 hand traps that I think are like most powerful right now, which are Impermanence, Ash, Ogre, Bell, and Reaper. I don't play Reaper just because I feel like the other hand, like I don't have room for Reaper, both in the extra and the side. And I feel like the other hand traps are more important now. I could make room in the extra for Isolda, but it's like whatever. And then like I feel like Ogre is the weakest of the remaining 4. And then there's like Valor, but I put Valor in the same camp as Impermanence. Like it's just Impermanence but worse. So and then I side the third Bell. This is obviously for the mirror and for like fringe shit like Burning Abyss. Dino Wrestler Pancratops. This is another card that just came out. This card is like, I never got to play it, but this, in theory, this card is crazy. You special summon it if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, and it's a quick effect Exiled Force / Lost Brew Breaker. It'll just pop any one card in the field. That just seems generically crazy. Like you can just summon it, and it's 2600, and you can push, and your opponent tries to stop you, just tribute it and pop something. Seems pretty good. I didn't get to play it because I play against Sky Strikers mostly today, and that was like the one deck where this is terrible because it's an on one monster. So I played 1 Denko Sekka. I was originally going to play 3 in this side, and then I cut it down to 1 to fit other cards because you can search this with Thunder Dragon Fusion. The thing is that it's only like kind of good if your opponent is not expecting it. If you search it, then they like Ultra Guys can just like preemptively flip everything, and I feel like Ultra Guys might just do that anyway because there's really not a lot this deck can do to deal with back row plus Silk Widows. Sky Striker can flip Eagle Booster to protect your thing, and like if you're not killing your opponent that turn, Denko kind of sucks because Sky Striker and Ultra Guys both have, those are the 2 decks I would side this against. They both have really easy ways to just kill this card because Sky Striker, all they have to do is play an engage and search for like Widow Anchor, or they have to play Widow Anchor, or they have to play Afterburners, or they can just like make a Sky Striker and run over it. So they kill her like that, and then Ultra Guys just like summons Meloseek and swings. So I feel like Denko is something where if you play it, you have to win, otherwise it's not going to do enough. And the pure version of Thunder Dragon, it can OTK, but it doesn't always OTK. And especially with a deck like Sky Striker and Ultra Guys running, where they're going to do everything in their power to stop you from OTKing them, Denko just didn't feel good enough. I actually did search it with Thunder Dragon Fusion against my friend who was playing Sky Striker, and it didn't do enough. And the card that I put in the place of the other 2 Denkos, which I'll get to after, like at the end, like towards the end of the side deck, was significantly better. So I want to just put a 3rd copy of this. Like, so Denko sadly like underperformed because I really like this card. I think this card's broken in like a vacuum, but it just didn't do enough. 3 Twin Twisters, that's obvious. The funny thing is that if you hit Waking the Dragon, you just run over the Ultimate Falcon because you just summon Titan and then you boost it with Matrix, and it's 3700. So 3 Red Reboot. This is an idea I got from the OCG where their Dino builds play Red Reboot. I'm probably going to replace this also just because, like I said, this deck can OTK. It doesn't always OTK. And if you Red Reboot and you don't kill your opponent that turn, you're probably going to lose. So I think in the Dino build, it makes more sense because the Dino build can very easily OTK you. If you Red Reboot and then you just go into Ultimate Conductor, you're probably going to kill them. This deck can put that much damage on the board, but it's not a guarantee that it always does. So I'm probably going to replace this with Evenly Matched because that also savages Ultra Guys and is also really good against Sky Striker. So these are probably going to become Evenly Matched. So the card I replaced the last 2 Denkos for was Gozen Match. This card is nuts. Because, well, do I really need to explain Gozen match? It shits on like damn near everything. It shits on Altergeist, which is your worst matchup. It shits on Sky Striker, which is like, I'd say it's probably even. It shits on Goki. It kind of shits on True Draco, but you win that matchup anyway, and then like it doesn't do shit to Trickstar, but that's like free. I don't know. Gozen matches are crazy. I definitely want to play 3 of this because I just like free wins. And the last card, I feel like this card is absolutely absurd in theory, but I have no idea how good it performs because I have yet to draw it because it's limited. Eradicator Epidemic Virus. But if you get this, if you time this right against Sky Striker, you just can't just preemptively do this unless it's like, if you hard open this against Sky Striker and you just like flip it immediately, they might lose unless they have Ray. And then against like Altergeist, you wait for them to play Marionette, or you wait for them to normal summon and see if it's Marionette, and then you flip it. But like if you do this and you just hit Trap or Spell, you're probably in a really good spot. So like even though this card's limited and I never see it, I feel like it's one of those cards where if I see it, I am hopefully going to win. So because of that, I was like, yeah, let's play this. I didn't see it because it's at 1. Fuck you, Konami TCG, even though I do think this card's really broken and probably should be at 1. But yeah, so the things I want to change to the side deck is the Denko is going to become a 3rd Gozen match. One of the Ogres is probably going to become Imperial Order, and the Red Reboots are going to become evenly matched. But yeah, that's the deck. I am in love with this deck. I really, really enjoy it. It does suck that it really struggles against Altergeist, but regardless of that, I have so much fun playing this deck. I didn't even know what any of the Thunder Dragons did until like 2 weeks ago, and then I just tested them for like 2 weeks on end, and it's like, I adore this deck. I have to build it. So I did. I can't play it on my Wednesday local because it won't be legal until Friday. But after that, I'm going like full ham on this. On Wednesday, I'll probably play like Sky Striker or Altergeist. Probably Altergeist, because I haven't played Altergeist in a while. And I'm like, I detest the Sky Striker mirror, and 2 of my friends play Sky Striker, so I'm like guaranteed to run into that if I play Sky Striker, and I just don't want to do that. I'd rather just cheese them out with like Imperial or Sacred Village or something. So I don't know. This deck's absurd. I love it. If you have any questions about it, like I've put a lot of thought into this deck. So yeah, and I'm just really excited to keep playing it. I think this was a very good investment in terms of like my personal one. It was very expensive, but this is the most fun I've had with this format, like bar none so far. So yeah, this might be the most fun I've had with a deck since Spyro at like Secaucus. So yeah, that's like saying something. This deck is so much fun. But yeah, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching, YouTube. I'll see you next time.